Welcome back to Close Up. It's another first for New Hampshire. Voters in Strafford County elected the state's first ever black sheriff on November 3rd, and he's our guest this morning. Mark Brave, thanks for joining us, and congratulations on the win.
Thank you, Adam. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, you've already built a long career in law enforcement, but what does this victory mean to both you personally and for the state as a milestone?
Well, I'm humbled that the residents of Strafford County chose me to be their next high sheriff. For me personally, it just opens another door for a young minority kid in the state to know that they can do what I just did. So that's what it means to me and my family.
One of the motivating factors behind your candidacy, as we've talked about before in discussion, was the killing of George Floyd earlier this year. Both as an officer of the law and as a black man, how did what happened in Minneapolis affect you?
So it was tough. I mean, obviously, me being black, me being law enforcement, I'm in the middle. So as a young black man, it enraged me because, that officer's actions basically put a black eye on all law enforcement across this country. But it also shed light on the fact that we do have an issue in law enforcement that we need to address. And it's time to stop this narrative and actually take action so that in another 3 months or so, it doesn't happen again.
Yeah, and a lot of people want to draw a line in the sand and say Black Lives Matter over here, law enforcement, police over here. You occupy both camps. How do you navigate that, especially when people on both sides can be skeptical?
So, I put it in perspective from my point of view in regards to me being a black person, how I viewed law enforcement as a kid until I got to understand and know the person behind the badge. And, as a law enforcement officer, how the community views me. So I saw both sides and I was able to, articulate that to the voters out there, kind of giving them both ways, because sometimes some people see it only in one way.
Yeah, and what about within your own profession? Sometimes people hear the phrase Black Lives Matter and they have a strong reaction sometimes it's negative. So how do you talk to people who are skeptical on that side?
I tell them first, have an open mind in regards to, it's a saying, Black Lives Matter. It's a truthful saying, but they also need to stop basically grouping Black Lives Matter with some of these radical groups, and that they just want to believe that Black Lives Matter is a radical group, and it's not. It's something more. And like I said, this narrative is going to stop. We need to find a way to make it stop in regards to bringing light to some of the social injustice out there.
Let's talk a little bit about reform. Law enforcement in New Hampshire, is racism the same kind of problem here that it is for departments in other parts of the country?
I would say no, and I put my own spin on it. Here in New Hampshire, it's a silent racism. It's not in your face, but it exists. It's not as big of an issue here as it is in other parts of the country. Obviously, we see what's happening to the law enforcement in those communities in those other side of the country, but it exists here. Like I said, it's subtle, but it's here.
Take us through some of the reforms you'd like to carry out within the Strafford County Sheriff's Office.
Well, first off, I want to start by, issuing body cams to the civil deputies, providing our policies and procedures, working on our website right now, where a community member could just log on to our website and see all our policies in regards to use of force, different things, officer safety, all that stuff. My mission is to ensure my office is completely transparent. Another thing is starting a countywide, kind of like a POP unit, community-oriented policing, where we work with a bunch of the cities in the county to provide service, not just drug service, in regards to drug interdiction, but also community service. So,
obviously, the body camera is not inexpensive. How are you going to convince the budget folks on that side of that? The sheriff's office doesn't always get the biggest budget, right? How are you going to convince them that that's necessary to building transparency and trust?
Well, it's going to take a lot of begging and pleading, but it's something that we need to put in place. You know, there's a cost for everything, and I think down the outcome will outweigh the cost. So, and you know, I have the backing of the county commissioners here and the administrator. They've been very great. And I know there's grants out there we can write too, but I know they'll work with me in getting some of these things done.
Now, under the Constitution, the title of High Sheriff is very powerful. Obviously, in the modern era, it's taken on a different role here in New Hampshire. But this idea you were just discussing, to create a space for the sheriff within Stratford County to be a resource for community engagement, how do you think departments are going to respond to that? Do you think there's a desire and a need for that?
I think they're going to respond with open arms because, like, you know, the Stratford County Sheriff's Office isn't the only law enforcement agency feeling the weight of COVID in regards to budgetary issues. I think if these towns want to be fiscally responsible, we're going to have to find a way to group our resources. And again, I'm putting out my arm saying, Stratford County Sheriff's Office, we can be a center resource once these different things come down the line in regards to police reform and whatnot. We're going to have to find a way to work with the police standards and training with each other to accomplish our yearly obligations.
And the governor backed all of the reforms put forward by the Police Accountability Commission that was meeting earlier this year. What do you think the reaction is going to be, though, if this newly elected legislature looks at that and says, well, hold on, we don't want to do all this stuff?
Well, I think there would be that would be a bad idea. I think they should keep everything in place, especially where, you know, our governor is backing it. It's something that needs to happen. We need to lay a foundation here in New Hampshire so that not if something like Minneapolis happens, but when it happens, the police and the community and our, you know, delegation, our state reps, senators, we're all on the same page, so we could, you know, stop it from escalating even worse. So I think they need to keep that in place, and I think they will.
And a lot of activists, and this is one of the ideas that's been kicked around here, not necessarily your purview, but just want to get your perspective on it. The idea of getting police out of schools. They don't like the idea of having a school resource officer in there. They believe that it facilitates that school to prison pipeline that we've heard so much discussion about. What are your thoughts on that concept?
So, Adam, I fully believe in keeping law enforcement police in schools. One of my first interaction with law enforcement was in my school, where there was a school resource officer. It made me, as a young black man, young kid, that was scared of the police, see that there is a person behind the badge, and, you know, that school resource officer was our coach, you know, or, you know, a community leader. So it wasn't something where, you know, he or she was there to uphold the law in the school. It was kind of like an interaction, and that's what made me realize that they're not bad people. You know, they're great people, because on the other side, outside of the community, people were saying, oh, there's the cops, you know, turn around, don't look at them, whatever. But I had a different reaction. So I believe in, you know, having my civil deputies, once we get up and rolling again, go out to these smaller communities that can't afford school resource officers, and having our civil deputies stop into school for an hour, you know, do their civil return paperwork, maybe go talk to a couple, you know, classrooms, you know, kind of make these kids know it's okay to talk to us. We're not the boogeyman, you know, if you want to put it in other words.
Yeah, so many times in the past when this country has had a moment like this, confronting that original sin of racism and inequality, there's been a lot of energy to change, but not all of the change has come, I think, to the point that people would want. So what has to happen differently for this moment to not just end in indifference and perhaps disillusionment, and we've not addressed that wound of racism that still exists in this country?
So that's a great question, because the only way this is going to work, because obviously if we had better ideas in the past, racism wouldn't be here right now. It would be in a different form, but it's still here. And I think it's going to take a lot of follow-up. So, you know, our community leaders, you know, a year from now, we're going to look at everything that we put together in regards to, you know, the trainings, the police and community bias-based policing, and we need to follow up to see if it's working. What do we need to do to rework it? But that needs to happen every year, and we need to put people on the board that actually mimics the community. You know, representatives from the Black Lives Matter movement, representatives from, you know, social services groups, church groups. That's the only way we're going to do it.
All right, Sheriff-elect Mark Brave, got to say, one of the great all-time names for a lawman. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you so much, Adam.